tips to sort of level up your video podcasting game, and really is kind of in two major parts, two major components to it. The first one is going to be your audio, because let's face it, video podcasts are still an audio format in a way, right? We listen more than we watch because it's just mostly just talking heads. So the first thing you might want to look into is actually getting some separate mics, whether that be a USB mic that plugs directly into your computer. There are several out there. I can give you a few links below. You can also get a setup like this, which actually is a little more involved, has a boom arm. It's a really nice mic. It's a decently cheaper mic. It's only like $100, but then you have to buy the boom arm with a preamp that goes into the back of your computer. So it's a little bit more involved, but the sound is nice. But they make plenty of USB ones that are just as good. So I would suggest looking into that if you want to up the audio game a little bit. Some other tips, if you don't want to do that, is to make sure you're in a quiet place that is not very echoey, or doesn't have dogs barking in the background, or children yelling in the next room, or even having a coworker. If you're doing a podcast next to each other, make sure the other person's not in the same room, because it might pick up on the microphone on the computer and just cause echo and other reverb and feedback and things like that. So separating yourselves out would be good, and make sure you're pretty much the only person in the room, right? And make sure all audio works the same. It's a proximity game. So if you're far away from a mic, it'll sound like you're distant, and if you're closer to the mic, it's even better. So doesn't matter how expensive the mic is. If you're far away from it, it still can't pick you up, because that's how audio works. So that's for the first part, is to really get your audio game in key. The next major component is to be mindful of your framing, of what's going on in the frame. So for instance, right now, if you can see me, obviously there's a lot to think about here in terms of framing. I've been doing this for a long time, so it's a little bit easier for me. But look where I am in the middle of the screen. I'm looking at my reference monitor right here. You can see I'm dead center, right? Pretty much dead center. I might be a little off here and there, but you can tell I'm pretty much center. I like to sort of shoot for the potential of short form video. So having enough space to the side so that I can either, if I wanted to, I can move the camera left and right and do like stuff in the negative space with text, or if I wanted to crop in for social media, I have plenty of space to do that, to where I'm not like super close up. So you want to make sure that you're shooting in landscape. So if you're doing a video podcast on your phone, don't shoot it like this, shoot it like this, because if you shoot it like this, it'll shoot in that 9:16 format, and you don't want that for a video podcast. You want to shoot like this, and have whoever talk like this as well, right? Yeah, that's really the main thing. And also be mindful of headroom. Make sure you have enough headroom at the top, but not like too much to where it looks like you're crouched down. And I would even get a little bit closer. I was kind of scooted back just now, but to kind of make yourself right in the middle, give yourself enough shoulder room, enough headroom. Just have it like that. Just don't get too close to the camera, because it makes it awkward in editing and things like that. So that's really the only things, are the audio. Be mindful of that, and be mindful of the framing, and you should be good to go. And one other thing I wanted to share, if you have a Mac computer and it's all been updated, if you have an Apple computer, all been updated, there's a thing called continuity camera. Google search it. Basically what it does is you can make your camera, your camera on your phone, be your camera on your computer. It can be a webcam essentially. So basically, if you start up, you can use your phone as a webcam. It's a little tricky depending on what apps you're using. If you're Riverside, I don't know if they've quite updated it yet to where you can use that, and it might be a little confusing at first, but it's pretty easy to use, especially with like Zoom and stuff like that. But anyway, use continuity camera, see if you can. If not, you can totally just use the camera as itself, turn it in horizontal, and then that'll record onto your video podcast software like Riverside. It'll do it 16:9 so that you're not having the long video. So that's it. That's a couple ways to help improve the video quality of these recordings.